Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, for those of you joining for the first time today. Guys, it's the weekend coming up here in about an hour for me, and I don't know how long for you guys, but I hope that you guys get to take a weekend, enjoy your weekend, and just get some relaxing and some good quality time in with friends and family. Guys, I wanted to make a quick video today to talk about a couple of things that I've been seeing a lot about this week, and just I wanted to come at it from a more of like a what does it actually mean standpoint, and be there for the people who are like new to the play and who might not have an understanding of this, but see these all the time and don't really understand what it is, or they get dumb remarks from negative people on social media. So, guys, I am going to talk today about failures to deliver and the threshold list and a little bit about utilization. So let's jump right in. Let's talk about what these things are, and we'll throw in a little bit of dialogue about them while we go. Guys, what is a failure to deliver? A failure to deliver refers to a situation where one party in a trading contract, whether it's shares, futures, options, or forward contracts, doesn't deliver on their obligation. It's pretty easy to think that that's probably what it means. Now, there's a couple ways that it can occur. The first way, which is not the way that I believe it's happening in AMC, and I think you will all agree with me, is that a failure to deliver can occur when a buyer, the party with the long position, doesn't have enough money to take delivery and pay for the transaction at settlement. Don't think so. Not at all. The way that I think that it is happening is the second portion of this, which is a failure can also occur when the seller, the party with a short position, does not own all or any of the underlying assets required at settlement and so cannot make the delivery. Whenever a trade is made, both parties in the transaction are contractually obligated to transfer either cash or assets before the settlement date. Subsequently, if the transaction is not settled, one side of the transaction has failed to deliver. We know which side it's happening on. Failure to deliver can occur if there is a technical problem in the settlement process carried out by the respective clearinghouse. Guys, that's a stretch in what's going on in AMC, considering how many times we've seen a massive amount of failures to deliver, and how many times, for how long, we've been on the threshold list. Guys, failure to deliver is critical when discussing naked short selling. When naked short selling occurs, an individual agrees to sell a stock that neither they nor their associated broker possess, and the individual has no way to substantiate their access to such shares. The average individual is incapable of doing this kind of trade. However, an individual working as a proprietary trader for a trading firm and risking their own capital may be able. Though it would be considered illegal to do so, some such individuals or institutions may believe the company they short will go out of business, and thus in a naked short sell, they may be able to make a profit with no accountability. Sound familiar? AMC, COVID, they all thought that it was going to go out of business, so they piled on the naked shorts. Failures to deliver. Guys, that is what this is talking about. Subsequently, the pending failure to deliver creates what's called a phantom share in the marketplace, which may dilute the price of the underlying stock. Okay, we see that all the time. In other words, the buyer on the other side of such trades may own shares on paper which do not actually exist. Guys, if you're buying shares and you're directing them directly to the stock exchange, you're kind of protected from this. But we know that a lot of, if you're constantly buying shares, we know that the float has been eaten up. We know what's going on, and we know that there are multiple floats being traded and that multiple floats are owned. And I believe it's many multiples, guys. This is where the play that we're in came from, is that exact situation, right? Now, being on the, having failure to delivers at the magnitude that AMC does, and a lot of other companies go through this too, gets them put on the threshold list, right? which is now a hot topic again because we have currently been on the threshold list for the last 26 days. So let's understand the threshold list a little bit more. In January 2005, the SEC implemented regulation SHO to reduce the abuse of naked short selling, where the seller does not borrow or arrange to borrow the securities in time to make delivery to the buyer within a standard 2-day settlement period. As a result, the seller fails to deliver securities to the buyer when delivery is due, known as a failure to deliver. So the people whose job it is, who created a rule to stop this from happening, are continuing to let it happen. Well, guys, we knew that. We knew that the SEC are not doing anything. They're not paying attention to what is actually going on. They're letting the manipulation go through, and this is all stuff that's very easy to see, and that's why they created the threshold list, to try to stop this from happening. And guess what? It's not working. When naked short selling is used and the affected securities aren't delivered, the associated transactions will fail to clear. These failed transactions are reported regularly on a threshold list, and the SEC and other regulators can identify clues that improper naked selling may have occurred. But why aren't they doing anything? Guys, Jon Stewart said that the apes aren't afraid, and we're not. We're not afraid to call them out. So call them out. Call out the SEC. Tell them, ask them why they're not doing their jobs. Guys, we know they're not doing their jobs. We know that they got to be working together, right? There's so much manipulation going on, especially with AMC, GameStop. There's a lot of stocks that's going on with it. Guys, just don't let the FUD. So I think this is part of what they want you to think, right? They want you to think that the regulating agencies are not doing anything, to get in your head and make you think that, hey, you know what? It's never going to happen because they're never going to be held accountable. Well, guys, eventually they're going to have to be. And I know I've said that in the past, but eventually they're going to have to be held accountable, and they will get away with it and get away with it and get away with it until the day that they don't. And that's the day that MOAS happens, guys. And it's coming soon. We know it is, right? Just for another little bit of information about the threshold list, when a stock is on the threshold list for more than 13 consecutive settlement days, they must immediately close out fail to deliver position by purchasing shares in the open market. Trading Insights says that there are several ways to view threshold lists. Some investors consider these stocks as possible short squeezes, right? Because they shorted the stock, the failure to delivers have gotten so high, so they're on the threshold list. They're on the threshold list for a certain amount of time, and then they have to buy those shares, and then it causes a short squeeze. And this happens all the time with things that aren't on the threshold list for this long, but we see short squeezes regularly. But we are waiting for the mother of all short squeezes. Like I said a minute ago, guys, it's coming. It's coming soon. I know it is. You should know it is. And while we wait, just stay positive with each other. Don't let the FUD get to you, and don't let the shills that are all over social media make you think that there are a whole large number of people that are against what's going on, and that they think that you're all dumb for holding these positions, because you're not. You're holding moon tickets, and we're going to make it there. It's just a matter of time. Time is relative, and I'm willing to wait, and I know you are as well. Guys, let's talk about one more thing here, and that is utilization, right? Because utilization has been at 100%. When you look at the charts, it's been at 100% for a long time, and now it's starting to fall down. Utilization is the ratio between the number of shares on loan across all outstanding loans in the wholesale market and the number of shares available for lending at lending programs. 0% utilization means that there are no shares have been borrowed or lent at these lending programs. A company that has a very low utilization is typically a company that is not worth it to somebody to short it, because they don't think that anything's going to happen to it, right? So big companies typically don't have a large utilization percentage because they're solid companies, right? In the past, AMC was not as solid as it is now. Guys, AMC has grown in its fundamentals, and it's constantly getting better, and it's constantly looking like it's gonna be okay, right? I know that there were tweets put out and there were things put out this week that kind of say otherwise, um, but that's because of the manipulation that's happening out there in the stock market, and this constant just crime that's driving this price down. When you look at the charts and you see what the numbers are doing with the volume, you can see that, guys, we're not selling. You can see the order book where you see a 10,000 share block that's being bought and a 10,000 share block that's being sold for pennies difference. But what that does is it drives the price down, right? It drives the price down, and it's not because of retail traders selling out their stuff. Guys, they need your shares. They want you to sell your shares. So they're going to do whatever they can to make you afraid. Don't let it happen. I know you're not. Guys, 100% means that all the shares available to borrow or lend at a lending program have in fact been lent. This does not represent the number of shares listed on the exchange that have been lent, because not all listed shares are available for lending. It indicates how much of the supply actually available for lending has been lent. Unless otherwise specified, this is given in a decimal format. So guys, utilization is based on how many shares can be lent, not how many shares are available, and how many of them are actually lent at a time, right? So keep that in mind. Do some research this weekend. Figure this out. I'm going to put the links in the description to where I found this information, so you guys can go look at it yourselves. Guys, we know that they're afraid, right? It didn't go down from what it opened at on Monday to where it's at today because of us selling. It's because they were so afraid of letting it stay above that $5 mark, where the amount of call contracts that they would have had to hedge for would have created a massive gamma squeeze, and a massive gamma squeeze could have triggered something bigger. Guys, if it was up at $7 by the end of this week, there would have been somewhere around 150,000 call contracts in the money that they would have had to hedge for and find 15 million shares to buy, when they have trouble doing that regularly. There are days when you look back where there's 12, 15, 18 million shares that are failure to delivered on, so you know that they can't find them. And guys, that's what they're afraid of. They need to keep the price down, so they're going to do whatever they can. And they're going to get in your head, and they're going to make you feel like you're failing or that you're in a bad play. Stick with it, guys. Stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. Guys, while we're waiting together, we need to just all stay positive, stay motivated, stay motivating, and we'll get through this. Guys, I'll see you later.